Hey there, viewers. It's Charlie. I'm back again with my 200th Transformers figure. Yes, I am not joking. I now have 200 Transformers figures. Although, that's including GoBots figures because I like to display them with my Transformers. The Headmasters, Target Masters, and Power Master partners, like the little guys. As well as duplicate figures because sure, they might be the same figure, but they're technically another figure altogether, if you know what I mean. But before I go off on a tangent, here is my 200th Transformers figure. Transformers Prime Beast Hunters Ultra Magnus. And, well, let me just say, oh my god, I love this figure. I mean, just look at this vehicle mode. Sure, it's not the white car carrier that Magnus normally is, but this could still be Ultra Magnus. Because, well, even though this guy continues the heritage of Ultra Magnus being a primary tool or a recolor, he's not just an homage to the little white cab this time. He's supposed to homage the entire robot mode from the original Magnus. So instead of a white car carrier, he's instead a blue long-nose truck. And, well, this is reminding me a lot of the Diaclone version of Ultra Magnus or Powered Convoy. Because the cab section on that was blue. Sure, it was darker blue, but still. I mean, even though he's just a retool of Optimus Prime, his robot mode is supposed to resemble the full-on armored robot mode of the original Ultra Magnus instead of the little robots. That was a Prime recolor in the G1 toy line, which is pretty cool. So having a look at the figure. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is this guy's a retool of the Optimus Prime from the RID Prime toy line, not the 2015 RID, the RID from the Prime toy line. Yeah, Hasbro likes confusing us because remember they also had a little Cyberverse toy line for both Dark of the Moon and Prime before using it as an actual Transformers toy line series. Yeah, Hasbro, you need to come up with some better names, dude. But, well, having a look at the figure, well, we can see there's actually quite a bit of detail here. I mean, here we have some ports here, and I think that's from the ARMS Micron version of Optimus, like the Japanese version. Although this is not the Japanese version of Magnus, because if this was the ARM Micron version of the Beast Hunter's figure of Magnus, then the blue here would be a lot darker. And he'd have a little, like, mini-con thing. Not like the Armada mini-cons, but like a little either robot or animal that turns into a weapon. So yeah, that's how you could tell this isn't the ARMS Micron version, because the blue's a lot lighter. Here we can see that the truck doesn't have any smokestacks. Although on the box art, I think that sorry, I cannot even speak, but on the box art that this figure did have some smokestacks, so I have no idea. Here we can see these bits sticking out, and these are actually the robot shoulders. So that's one complaint, I suppose. Here we got a trailer hitch. We got some holes here, after I'll show you what they're for after I show the 360. The other side is pretty much just the same. The front, well, we've got some yellow headlights, and the grille or radiator shows a teal Autobahn insignia. And right here, if you can see that, there's a tiny Autobahn insignia there, although it's upside down. Of course, that's for the robot mode, because, when you get to the robot mode, this is how the windows are showed. So the windows actually turn upside down for the transformation, which is something that not many primes do, or Magnuses. Now for the underneath. Okay, look. I've had a couple I've had a couple of Prime and Magnus figures, and most of them hide their heads pretty well. Like, so, yeah, most of my Primes hide their heads in such a way that you can't view it from any angle. Although, with my Energon and Cybertron Primes, they don't hide their heads well. Although, this guy's a bit better because instead of having his head just out in the open, if my tongue will work correctly, he has it underneath, and so if you ever need to display the figure where it looks like he just crashed, then yeah, the head's gonna be showing. And to my knowledge, this is the only like Prime / Magnus figure I know of that has the head on the underneath in vehicle mode. Most of the others just conceal it somewhere. Like, for example, the original car robot Ultra Magnus, the head was just in amongst all the arms and the legs. Well, not the legs, but the head was like in between the arms, so you couldn't even see it, even if you turn the figure upside down. And even G1 Magnus, where the head was just flipped around inside like the cab. But well, I display my figures in robot mode anyway, so this isn't really a big deal. But before we get onto the robot mode, I need to show off this guy's accessories, or in my case, accessory. Here we have this thing, and as you can see, oh, that's putrid. That's just gross because, well, that's the way it came into post, because the seller said that that dog was teething on it. Well, in that case, thanks a lot, you lousy mutt. But, well. So if we just put this quote-unquote shoe toy on here, this can just tab in like so. I think that, there we go. So now we've got it like this. So it could sort of resemble the original. So it could sort of resemble the other Magnuses, because this could be like a little one-bot car carrier. Not really, because like the car figures in Prime are pretty big, and I don't think I'd even be able to fit Rumble on here, because he's the only other Prime figure I've got. So yeah, I'm just stretching for stuff now. But just taking this off. There we go. Now this bit would also hold like 2 missiles for the figure, and even a hammer that I don't have, unfortunately. Yes, this guy had a hammer, the Forge is soulless. Pretty much, the hammer was supposed to be like the hammer the hammer was supposed to be like the hammer from animated Ultra Magnus, albeit much smaller, but still big enough to hold with 2 hands. But unfortunately, I don't have it. Yeah, you know what? Before I continue stuttering and my tongue has a heart attack, let's just get on with the transformation. And I don't know if I can raise my camera without my Lego stand breaking. This transformation is actually pretty fiddly in some spots, so let's just do this. Come in here and untap these side bits of the truck, move them down, around, and cover the front wheels. There we go. What I like to do is move the back bit downward, out the way. Move these little shoulder bits down. Split it. Then come in here and fold out the feet from the trailer hitch. because every Optimus Prime and Magnus has to have the back of the vehicle form their legs. I'll just leave it like that for now, so you can have like a little truck go walk if you want to. Take the top bit of the truck, and in a similar way to Cybertron Armor Hide, just untab it and then move it back. Take the front grill bit and just untab that a little bit. Try and get these bits out. These are also going to be the arms. Oh, and I've untabbed it, but don't worry, it goes back on. So let's try and get this piece of crap back on. There we go. So you want to try and move it out, but also orientate it so this bit goes out. Yeah, it's a bit fiddly. Come in here and move these bits up to be the hands. Take these bits and move them to the back so they're pretty much his backpack. There we go. Then take the grill and just move that to show the head. Next, take the window, fold this bit up, and then try and orientate this entire section upwards, and try and tab it in. Try and get the arms situated so you can tab it in. Ugh. Oh, there we go, I've got it tabbed in. Straighten out the arms. Try and straighten out the legs. No, I did not have this tabbed in. I don't know. There we go. Now it's tabbed in. But take these sections, rotate them around, and then push them in. Like so. Do the same with this one. So just try and turn that around and push it in. This one's a bit harder to do. I think I've probably already done it. And that's pretty much Magnus in his robot mode. So yeah, it's a fiddly transformation, but to me, it's a fun one too. It's the kind of transformation that you might struggle when you first do it, but once you know how to do it, as long as you're careful, you will manage. And yeah, this is the reason the ultimate mode was blue instead of white. This robot mode is supposed to look like how Magnus looked in G1 with the armor. And to be honest, it works pretty well. Because it even has the tall shoulders that G1 Magnus had. And if you did have the missiles, they could actually plug in here and they could move forward to push them out. Because they'll push missiles. But having a 360. Here we've just got the backpack here, which is just the front wheels. Being covered by the side bit of the truck. And having a look at the head, that is definitely Ultra Magnus' head if it'll focus for me. That is definitely the head of Ultra Magnus. Not just the white version of Prime, but he has the actual mouth. Now, like, as you can see, the window does turn upside down for the transformation, which is pretty unique. And this bit also flipped out. That wasn't shown in the vehicle mode. So, articulation. Well, the head Well, it's a bit tight, but it can sort of move. The arms, of course, can move up. Can't really T-pose that well due to the shoulders. He has got elbows, and the elbows can swivel. And I guess his wrists can move up and down. There's nothing at the waist. Although for his legs, they're on ball joints, they can move up. Can't really move back that well due to the back kibble. But he does have a bit of like thigh rotation. Got a pretty good knee. And his ankles are ball jointed, so you can have a pretty good like pivot. So if he does want to do the splits, he can do it while standing. I mean, it's not the full splits, but he can still technically do them. So he does have ball jointed feet, which is pretty cool. Although, I think some people have complained, from what I can remember, that the ball joints are a bit loose, and you can just see his shadow dancing there, because the sun's just shining in right now. So, thanks a lot, nature. But, yeah. Like, aside from that and the transformation, I don't really have any other complaints. Well, these bits do move around a bit too easily for my liking. But that's not it. We have this bit, the dog's chewing toy, I'll call it. What you can do is, you can lift this bit up, which looks like it's got some mini-com ports from like the Unicorn trilogy. So you can just move that up. Flip these out, just flip them up. And then if you attach it onto Magnus's neck, it's going to be easier said than done. Yeah, this is often pretty complicated to do, so maybe it's best if you move the backpack stuff out the way for this. There we go. And what that does is it gives Ultra Magnus some wings. Pretty similar to Car Robot's Ultra Magnus. I would do a comparison, but that version of Magnus is way taller than this one. But that's how I display him, with the wings displayed. Or the wings deployed, I mean. And well, that's pretty much all I have to say about this guy. I mean, complaints. Well, for one, the transformation can be a bit fiddly if you don't know what you're doing. And there's a few bits that could possibly break if you're not careful. The hip joints could possibly be a bit loose, so maybe just be careful. And well, the shoulder sticking out of the vehicle mode's a bit of an eyesore, but other than that, I don't have any other complaints, because I just love this guy. So, do I recommend him? Well, yeah, this is probably the best. This is probably the best toy of Prime Ultra Magnus, because he looks like how he did it in the series, which is pretty nice. If you ever want to start remaking like show episodes with the figures, if you really want a highly accurate Prime Magnus figure, well, Prime Ultra Magnus figure, I mean, then this guy's probably your best bet. And plus, I just love how he looks in both modes. So yeah, that's been my review on Beast Hunters Ultra Magnus. And this is Charlie Young, signing off.